All right, I think we can get started now. So welcome again to the NetPlus webinar series. Today we'll be covering 3 of our security programs in the portfolio and look forward to some interaction with the program managers, the service providers, as well as you in the audience. My name is Tara Jenis, and I'm in the NetPlus program development. So I work with our speakers that will be here today and supporting them. Just a few logistics before we get started. The participants, the audience, your microphones and video are turned off, but please do interact with us and submit your questions via the Q&A functionality. The questions will be moderated, and we may not have time for all, but we'll try to follow up with anything that does come up. But we also wanted to make sure you're aware that it's being recorded and will be made available on our YouTube channel and as well as listed in the Discover the Power of NetPlus Services blog post. So our speakers today are my colleagues Nick Lewis and Nidhi Yadav. They're both program managers in the Internet to NetPlus program in the security portfolio. And I'm going to turn it over to Nidhi, who's our first speaker.
Thank you, Tara. Hello, everyone. I'm Nidhi Yadav, Associate Program Manager at Internet 2, and today I will be talking about the NetPlus Crashplan program. Next slide, please. Let me start with what Crashplan is. It is a cloud backup service that automatically protects your files with secure and continuous backups. What makes Crashplan stand out? First, it offers continuous protection, meaning your files are backed up in real time as you work. It's highly secure and provides BAA availability to support HIPAA compliance needs. Users get unlimited versioning, allowing them to recover any previous versions of files. Lastly, users can recover some or all of the data or prioritize the most recently used files first. Now, let's talk why Crashplan is particularly advantageous for higher education. First, each license covers up to 6 devices. You get unlimited storage, including unlimited retention and versions. It fully supports remote users. Whether your faculty and grad students are in the lab or in the field, Crashplan gets them up and running again quickly following a disaster without hands-on IT support. Next, support for independent researchers. Crashplan allows independent security controls while embracing centralized management to help protect even the most unique end users. Accommodates chargebacks. Its reporting web app shows your users by department, making chargebacks easy. Then you have central control over all devices, even in a distributed campus environment. A single admin console for all departments and colleges makes it easy to manage deployment, monitor backups, and analyze data. Lastly, it simplifies data holes for legal compliance. It automatically logs data retention policies to easily support Freedom of Information Act requests and other legal holes without affecting backups or productivity. Next slide, please. Moving on, NetPlus Crashplan service evaluation. So the NetPlus Crashplan program underwent Internet 2's standard service evaluation process with feedback from the following 5 participating institutions. Next slide, please. Now, let's take a look at the NetPlus Crashplan Service Advisory Board. The board consists of 7 participating schools. They meet quarterly to discuss various topics related to Crashplan usage in higher education, how the NetPlus Crashplan program can be leveraged and improved to engage with the community, and address concerns raised during the NetPlus Crashplan community calls. Recent discussions with the board have included first, audit logging, specifically tracking data recovery across different devices, role-based access controls, API extension capabilities, and third-party app integrations to make Crashplan work more smoothly with your existing tools. And lastly, for Mac users, a tighter integration with Mac tools to improve the overall experience on Mac OS. I encourage you to share your feedback. If you have suggestions on what the program should focus on, or topics you'd like the Service Advisory Board to discuss, please let us know. Tara, could you go back to the last slide? Thank you. Recently, I also shared a feature prioritization Google form with our NetPlus Crashplan community to gather feature or enhancement requests. These requests will be reviewed quarterly with the Service Advisory Board and Crashplan team to assess feasibility and determine priority. If you haven't already filled the form out, I encourage you to submit any requests or suggestions you have. Next slide, please. Now, let me walk you through the NetPlus Crashplan program and its significant value for higher education institutions. The NetPlus Crashplan program provides comprehensive data protection across your entire institution. The service ensures your data is secure, accessible, and recoverable whenever you need it, including laptops, desktops, Windows servers, and SaaS platforms. It makes data resiliency simple and reliable for higher education. The program, which was established in 2014, is currently subscribed by 33 institutions. Who can participate? The program is available to Internet to higher education members, non-members, and Internet to affiliate members, including federal affiliates. Now, I'd like to highlight the key benefits this program offers. A pre-negotiated contract specifically tailored for higher education, discounted pricing for Internet 2 members, service leveraging Internet 2's robust network infrastructure for enhanced performance, in common identity integration, liability scope to employees, a business associate agreement is included as well, and lastly, commitment to comply with current and future accessibility standards. Next, I'm excited to share the newest data resiliency offerings from Crashplan. First, Crashplan for M365, protecting Exchange, SharePoint, OneDrive, OneDrive for Business and Teams. Second, Crashplan for Windows servers, for file print, domain controllers, and application servers. Internet 2 is currently working to include these new offerings in the NetPlus contract. Next slide, please. Last but not the least, there are many great resources available to help you make the most of NetPlus Crashplan. For those just getting started, check out the Crashplan for Higher Education website. Want to see how other schools are using Crashplan? Take a look at success stories from Wake Forest University, Wesleyan University, and many more. If you are looking for NetPlus specific resources, we have got you covered. Our NetPlus Crashplan webpage, a comprehensive wiki page, and an online form for submitting feature suggestions. The best part of the NetPlus Crashplan program is the community engagement aspect. We have quarterly service advisory board calls and quarterly community calls where you can connect with your peers and discuss your usage and challenges with Crashplan. Need to reach out? It's easy. Send an email to netplus@internet2.edu for Internet2 related questions. And to contact the Crashplan EDU team, you can reach out at internet2@crashplan.com. That's all I have for NetPlus Crashplan. Thank you all for listening. And now I'll hand it over to Nick.
Thanks, Nidhi. So I'm going to just build on top of what Nidhi was just saying. Oh, hi, my name is Nick Lewis. I'm program manager at Internet 2. I've been at Internet 2 about 10 years. Prior to Internet 2, I was an information security officer for St. Louis University. So I'm going to build on top of what Nidhi was just talking about so that all of the NetPlus programs have very similar things done for each of them because we have a structured process around service evaluations and how we run our programs. Tara, next slide, please. So the NetPlus Duo security program, Duo Security is now part of Cisco and has been that way for about 6 years now. And it provides a secure access and multi-factor authentication to all critical applications for any user, anywhere, and with any device. And so the program is about 12 years old. And so I assume most of you have heard of it because it's been around for so long. We've got 180 plus subscribers to the program. And some of the campuses that have been part of the program for 10 plus years. And so it's been a very long-standing program with broad adoption across the community. The program is open to Internet 2 members, non-members, and the research and education community. Next slide, please. So We had the last major update to the program was in 2017, where we went through a service evaluation where we updated the pricing, we updated the customer agreement, and we went through and did legal work. We worked on the technical integrations for each one of the Net Plus services. We go through and do a certain check and see, oh, is in common required, given where Duo fits in the identity ecosystem for campuses. We exempted the in common requirement for Duo, but Duo does now support in common for access to like the admin panel or things like that. And then for using the Internet 2 network, where Crashplan makes a lot of sense to use the Internet 2 network because of the high bandwidth needs. Duo is very low bandwidth required. And so given the additional complexity, we exempted it from that service as well. The campuses went through and did a functional evaluation of the service as well. And we engaged with Duo on the product features on a regular basis. And I'll get more into that in just a moment. You'll see the campuses that were involved in the service evaluation in 2017, and those were the campuses that were part of the service advisory board. And then let's see, and next slide, please. And then our current service advisory board, we've updated the group as the campuses have changed and the community has changed. And you'll see that we've got a broad representation across the community of small campuses, large campuses. We've got a research organization. We've got some very large campuses with different types of deployments so that we can represent the entire needs of the community. We're currently recruiting another small campus and another community college to help make sure that those parts of the community are strongly represented on the advisory board so that we can advocate for the entire community when we engage with Cisco and Duo on future functionality. Thank you. So we've got some, like Nidhi mentioned, we've got some links and resources, the Duo's security support options that goes to the Cisco support portal. We've got a wiki page, we've got a web page with more information. We also have a Slack channel that we've set up for the community. If you'd like an invite to that, please reach out to me or to Net Plus, and we can add you to the Slack channel. One of the things, since the program is so mature and we've got such a large community, we've got a very robust community engagement. We just got done with our monthly community call where we had 85 campuses, I think, on the call, where we meet monthly to talk about whatever is on their mind in terms of their deployments. And then we do periodic newsletters, and we've got a webinar in development for January on risk-based authentication and aspects of that and how campuses are deploying Duo on their campus and evolving their deployments on their campus. And if you've got any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to us. So then next, thank you. So the Net Plus Duo Service Advisory Board, and like all of the Internet 2 Net Plus advisory boards or advisory groups, they provide oversight to the program and vendor management for the community. There's when Duo was acquired by Cisco, we engaged with the advisory board and with Duo and with Cisco on that change to make sure that campuses were represented in the changes that were being made, so to minimize the impact on campuses. And so that's where the advisory board is providing a service to the entire community and to all the subscribers. The advisory board was formed in 2015, and so it's approaching 10 years as a group. One of the things that we talk about at length to make sure that Duo continues to work and be the best solution for higher education for MFA is on product updates. And so Duo went through and released an update to the universal prompt. And I think it's been about 2.5 years now. And Duo engaged with the community deeply on that. And before they started rolling it out, or they started engaging with the higher education community. And as they were developing it and designing it, we engaged with their product managers to make sure that it would be reasonable for campuses to use. The deployment timelines were as reasonable for campuses to deploy as possible. And as the campuses went through their upgrades to the universal prompt, there's also been changes around what the deadlines were so that it would better meet the needs for higher education campuses. And so we had deep consultation with Duo on that upgrade. And so we actually had, I think it was 4 calls with their product management over the course of a year and a half to get down in the details to make sure that it best met the community needs. And then we had a campus that was an early adopter share their deployment and how they went through and did the upgrade so that other campuses could learn from that to make that transition as smooth as possible. One of the more recent examples has been a new function, a new feature within the Duo mobile app around bypass codes, where they're currently something called event-based codes, HOTP, and because of the changes in how attackers operate and attackers trying to target those codes, Duo made some changes to their mobile app to use something called time-based codes so that it was make it more challenging for attackers. And so we worked closely with Duo on that feature development and have worked with campuses on deploying that to their users. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in the later slides on why. And then we've done a similar type of update engagement around the Duo verified push. And that one of the aspects that we've engaged with Duo on around the verified push has been around IT accessibility and the needs for it to be usable by all users on your campus. All right, next slide. One of the things that we've done in the NetPlus Duo program in 2023, we did a multi-factor authentication community survey with to follow up on a 2020 survey that we did. And so many thanks to Ruth Ann BVA for doing the work on writing the report. She wrote the report based upon the survey data, and many thanks to the academic and research organizations that responded to the survey. There were 225 unique campuses with 2 anonymouses from 10 countries. And so it's a fairly wide sample across of US higher education. And we're trying to gather data on how campuses, the NetPlus team is trying to gather data on campuses deployments to help other campuses improve how they're deploying multi-factor authentication or other services on their campus. Other programs are doing institutional profiles in a more granular way, but we thought we'd try something slightly different for NetPlus Duo. And one of the interesting things coming out of the survey was that combined across all of the responding institutions, the Duo was protecting over the learning of over 3 million students. That's a pretty big number. And think about that on your campus. How many people are being protected by multi-factor authentication? So then we did a report based on that, and it's been published out to the NetPlus Duo subscribers if you want additional details. Next slide, please. So one of the things we've gotten the most questions about, and that's a perennial question on the email list, is what do you use for Remember Me? Because the Remember Me setting is how often essentially users have to go through the multi-factor authentication. And so many campuses will ask like their peers, like, how long do you set that setting? And in the 2020, you can go and look in the slides when we post them, just if you want to look at the actual details. And in the blog link on the previous slide, you can go and look in more details. But you'll see some details on the slide of how often or how long some campuses are using for the Remember Me settings. One of the interesting pieces of data that we gathered there was 1% of the campuses used 1 year or more for the Remember Me. We didn't ask why. We were just asking what their setting was, and so it's some very interesting data around how campuses deploy that. Most campuses are moving towards a shorter time frame for Remember Me because of the attacks and the changing requirements around MFA. Okay, next slide, please. And so around those changing requirements have been driven largely by a couple things, by attacks on multi-factor authentication systems, where attackers have been able to bypass MFA systems, and then driven on legal requirements for changing in laws, regulations, or change from NIST around recommendations on how MFA is deployed for campuses. One of the additional areas that campuses are discussing is around passkey usage. We're working on a companion guide around how to deploy passkeys and Duo so that users can get the benefit from using passkeys. And the next bullet is on IT accessibility, where Duo has taken IT accessibility very seriously across their entire product so that it can be accessible for all users. And Keith Wethel and Keith Hayes from University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign did a presentation at the Internet 2 Tech Exchange in 2015, and then they did another one in 2022 around two-factor no eyes, where the experience of what it's like using Duo when you're visually impaired. And one of the key takeaways from that presentation is the improvement of using passkeys for people with visual impairments, and how much easier it is for users. The program also supports a number of ad hoc community calls. We've had calls around when particular campuses were under attack, and they needed to discuss, well, what do we need to change with our Duo implementations? We'll have a call that will arrange within a very short period of time to discuss a very particular topic. And we've had a couple of those different types of calls, where some around phishing, some around comparison to other MFA solutions that campuses are being asked about, things like that. And so we do a number of ad hoc calls to build community and help each other with their deployments. All right, next slide, please. So now we'll go into LastPass, and LastPass is a password manager and single sign-on solution that makes it easy to log into every web account while following best practices for password security. Through a custom developed affordable Internet 2 Net Plus LastPass package, colleges and universities can offer school-sponsored password management to every person on campus, and it includes personal accounts and families as a benefit. One of the interesting things about the Net Plus LastPass program is designed so that everyone on your campus could have a password manager and get that benefit, because everyone on your campus has to use a password, and so they will get the benefit from using the tool. There's currently 65 subscribers to the service, and it's open to higher education members and non-members. And the program started in 2015. Right. And the program was started based on the service evaluation campuses working together to evaluate the service. These are the there were 3 campuses that completed the service evaluation in 2014, where they went through the legal work, the business model, pricing, things like that. And the business model is unique for Net Plus LastPass, is that you can deploy it for everyone and your license based on everyone on your campus, and your price is scaled based on that. Then similar to the Net Plus Duo around the technical integrations, the networking bandwidth needs for LastPass are very low, and so we exempted that requirement, and the identity integration for In Common was also exempted, given the status of LastPass for In Common integration at the time. But we did go through a full functional assessment and review the feature functionalities. One of the things that was done during the service evaluation that I took over at the when I first started Internet 2 10 years ago was finishing up where they were finishing a review of the cryptography. So LastPass was a small startup at the time, and campuses were unsure around the cryptography for password management, storing passwords in cloud services. And so they spent quite a bit of time reviewing how LastPass did that. And then we're ultimately comfortable with how LastPass did that and could be deployed on their campuses. Okay, next slide, please. And then the service advisory group. We started the service advisory group up last year, and we've got good representation across the entire community, different types of campuses, large, small, private. We've got an HBCU, a community college, and so it's built to represent the entire community and the needs of the entire community. Next slide, thank you. We've got some standard resources like the support. We've got a case study about Net Plus LastPass at the University of Oklahoma. We've got a wiki, webpage. We've been talking with the advisory board about setting up a Slack community to be, for campuses to engage with each other, and that's in development. We'll have an announcement out to subscribers in the next month or so, getting that started off. We've done we did a town hall in 2022 where University of Oklahoma talked about their campus. We did that in collaboration with EDUCAUSE on using a quick talk to engage with the broader community and share how University of Oklahoma is using LastPass. And we've got, and then contact Net Plus at Internet 2 if you've got any questions, or myself if you've got any questions or feedback. Next slide, please. So we mentioned that we started the Net Plus LastPass Service Advisory Board in 2023. This was in response to the 2022 incident.
Passengers should be aware of.
Sorry, I'm in the airport.
May be arranged from the service.
So we started the advisory board in response to the incident to ensure that the higher education community was represented, their needs were represented in the response from LastPass, and that we had assurance of the changes that LastPass made coming out of the incident, and the improvements that were made, and that they would be a benefit to campuses. Then as part of the advisory board, we've discussed with LastPass the separation from GoTo, and where LastPass is now a separate company where they can devote or where they have increased the resources to the development of the product and to the internal security. Then last thing we talked about has been around the advisory, with the advisory group has been LastPass Labs, and how LastPass Labs is looking at threat intelligence or various different aspects of password management across their entire customer base. Next slide, please. So I'm talking a little bit about some of the product updates that we've talked with LastPass about here on the advisory board. Coming out of the incident, one of the changes that campuses requested and many customers requested was password vault URL encryption. And so LastPass, as part of their commitment to improvement has been they've rolled that out recently to users, and so that the URLs are encrypted in your password vaults. Then LastPass rolled out automated compliance with Strata so that they could be transparent with customers, so that they could share information about their security posture and reports and things like that. We've talked on the advisory board about I mentioned the Duo universal prompt for Duo, but it's also come up around the LastPass program, because LastPass has an integration with Duo that needed to be updated to support the Duo universal prompt. And so the Net Plus program, we will work with other programs on areas where there are integrations, like all of our services do some sort of logging. So do they integrate with other Net Plus services that do logging? And so that's similar to logging. MFA support for all services. Do you need is something needed for that, and are there updates needed? And so we'll engage collaboratively between the different advisory groups to ensure that the needs of campuses are being met for the product updates. We've talked about passkeys and password lists, and the LastPass's direction on that. We've talked about security enhancements that have been that are being rolled out before they were rolled out, particularly around improvements in master password hygiene, so that campuses can know what was coming and then give feedback to LastPass on how that may impact their campus. And then we're currently discussing how to grow adoption on campus. Since the license is designed for everybody on campus, that frees up campus teams to focus on growing adoption rather than having to manage to a license. Next slide, please. Okay. I think that's all my pre-prepared content. Now questions.
Thanks. See if we've got any questions. I don't see any questions. Anybody else see any questions there? We also have some guests from the service providers available to answer your questions. So if you have questions that are specific to one of the 3 services that you heard about, you know, we can bring them on as well. So don't hesitate to ask them the difficult questions. I see Kevin has one for you, Nick. What happened to Palo Alto on Net Plus?
Thanks for the question, Kevin. I didn't address that. So we've been working with Palo Alto Networks since 2020. We did a pre-evaluation agreement, and then we did a full service evaluation, and then we didn't get significant traction within the community because of various challenges. And so Palo Alto Networks notified us about 2 months ago that they weren't seeing traction, and it didn't make business sense for them to continue engaging through the Internet to Net Plus program with the community. So that program has been sunset, and we're working through the final details on that.
Yeah, and I guess we could add here too, in addition to the 3 services you heard about today, Net Plus, you heard in previous webinars about Net Plus 1Password, Net Plus Splunk. So we have quite a robust profile in the security space. And maybe, Nick, there's another security related program in progress that you might want to mention.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Tara's alluding to, we've got we're working on a third-party risk management request for proposals right now. We spun up a working group about a year ago to develop requirements around how campuses do third-party risk management and then services to help them with that. Many campuses have ad hoc processes. It's spun out of like, oh, we want a HECVAT. And so HECVAT is just a spreadsheet. And so many campuses are using a spreadsheet to keep track of their other spreadsheets, which only scales so far. And so we're working on the RFP to help find a tool to help campuses scale that across their entire campus and be comprehensive so that you can include the IT accessibility, the procurement people, legal, identity, and the other stakeholders on your campus, including the business owners, so that it's a comprehensive process and everyone can have awareness of what's going on. And then you can have an inventory, because that inventory may be required by GLBA or changing requirements, legal or regulatory requirements. And so more to come on that. We've actually just completed the first phase and are going in the second phase of the RFP, and we'll be hopefully making an announcement in time for Internet 2 Community Exchange next year.
Good. Thanks for answering that ad hoc. Okay, I'll ask a question for Nidhi that we've heard before. If in the example of Crashplan, can a researcher with large data use Crashplan to back up their enormous data?
Thank you for the question, Tara. I believe Crashplan can be a suitable backup solution for a researcher working with large data, but to provide more details, I have Tracy and Tim from Crashplan to answer that and provide more details.
All right, let me see if I can promote them. I will get Tim there. And let's see, Tracy.
Yeah.
All right, so Tim and Tracy, who's going to address this difficult question about research data and backing that up?
I can address that one for you. To answer your question, yes, absolutely. Every data set is very different, and there are certain ways that you want to accommodate how you approach that regular backup and retention of that research data. But we have ample evidence to suggest on many college campuses in your network that research workstations do indeed work well. And with the advent of some additional facilities, we're now giving access to a new facility that allows you to create storage centers wherever you want them, not just on our private cloud, but if you have cloud data or cloud storage allocated from a Microsoft agreement or AWS or some other cloud location, we're just about storage agnostic on where that's stored, up to and including on-prem storage. Hope that answered the question.
I think so. Thank you. I see that Robert has his hand raised. Let me see if I can promote you. Robert, you've got the floor, or you should in a minute. Hi, Robert.
So I had to unmute myself after.
That's okay.
I just wanted to follow on with what Tim said. I'm on the board for the Crashplan INET 2 group, and I wanted to offer whoever asked that question a chance to join us, because while you can use Crashplan to back up research data, it's not always the right solution. There are a lot of considerations that go into that are far beyond what we should talk about here. But I think that'd be a great topic for an upcoming community call, and I would love to discuss it there then. That's all I had to say. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see, let me get you back to your attendee role. Any other comment on that, Nick or Nidhi, on that topic? Good there. Let's see. Any other questions?
Tara, there's a question in chat about how may we receive more information about the Internet 2 Net Plus efforts around risk management RFP, for example, timeline vendors under consideration. Please reach out to me. I put my email address in the chat, and I can give you an update. I'm not running the RFP. We've got a person that does Sue Gavazi that's running the RFP, and we have a very structured process around it. And the RFP is structured so that it can meet procurement requirements for the most stringent state campuses. And so I have to be very careful on what I say or not say. And so that's why I make sure I talk with Sue to make sure that we, but I do know that I've gotten questions from other campuses around, they want this now, they're working on this problem now. And that's why we engage with the campuses that are doing the RFP. The RFP is being, there's currently 7 campuses doing the RFP, representing the broader needs of the community. And many of them were going through a similar investigation for their campus. And so that's how we did form the group. And I can share potentially more information, so feel free to reach out with me over email. Thank you.
Thanks. Don't hesitate, audience, to ask any questions you may have. If not, I'll keep going. So Nick,
Actually on I'm Tara, to just riff off what you just said around, so the way that services come into the Net Plus portfolio, I know our first webinar was on that more or less, or no, the second one was more on that, but we respond to your campus needs, and if you have a need around third-party risk management on the Net Plus Duo call that we just had this afternoon, campuses talked about how to do identity verification. Do you have services in the Net Plus portfolio to help with that? And there may be a common need across the community around that. And so that's where you should, if that's a need for you, or there are things that you're looking at right now, we want to hear that from you so that we can figure out what's the highest priority from the community, so that we can work with you to identify service providers or to do the outreach to service providers to get them to engage with us so that we can develop programs to help campuses.
And I'm the contact for that. So how appropriate. Yes. Love to hear from the community on any additional programs you'd like to see in the Net Plus portfolio and why. A question that I have, just curious, on the LastPass service, you mentioned a couple times about it being available throughout the campus. How do I go about like linking a personal account to a campus account?
Oh, good question. That is one of the big benefits for enrolling in LastPass, setting up a LastPass account on your campus so that you can protect your work accounts and your personal accounts. As part of the program, campuses will set up an enrollment portal working with LastPass to link those accounts and get a free premium account. And so we've got
Jerome is here. Jerome, I'll promote you if you want to add a little bit more about that. There we go. Hi, Jerome. You're on mute for the moment.
Yes, I am. Sorry about that. Thank you so much. Yeah. And it's and I get my video started here too, hopefully. There we go. Yeah. So thank you very much for having us. And that's a great question. You're absolutely right. LastPass really started off as a personal password management service. So although there is a huge need for it, we definitely realize that people have passwords in their personal life as well as their professional. And so LastPass does give you the ability to not only have that business account, but we give you that personal aspect of it as well. And they do allow you to tie them together for convenience purposes, meaning that you could take we'll offer you as a benefit, like a family's account. So you and 5 members of your family can take advantage of LastPass and make sure you're protecting everybody, save and share those accounts on the personal side. Yet you can link that account to your business account, but it would stay very separate, meaning that it would never, anything you log into on the personal side would never show up on your business account or in the business reporting. So it's nice to have that separation between your personal life and your professional life, but at the same time have the convenience of saying, hey, I need to log into my bank account while I'm at my office. So we give you the benefit of doing both. So, and it's pretty simple process, but it's nice to be able to know that you have both, and you can log into just your personal account or you log into your business account, and so if you link it, you'll have access to both your business account and your personal account. So manage all those crazy passwords you have in your life. So thanks for the question, Tara.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else for Jerome before I demote him?
Wouldn't be my first time, but yeah, any other questions, I'm happy to answer.
All right, we can always bring you back if we
Yeah,
need. Thanks, Jerome. Let's see. I think we might have time for one more question. If nobody else out there has one, I'll ask one more. Again, Nick, on the Duo program, I know it's been a while that it's been part of Cisco, but there's some chatter out there that the Cisco sales team saying that the Net Plus Duo program is a legacy program. I need to move to a different agreement to renew my service. Is that true? I mean, how active is the program still?
That program is very active, but I have heard that question, unfortunately, quite a few times in the last year or two. And as the Cisco acquires new companies, we get that every time that Cisco acquires a Net Plus service, because Duo was not the first Net Plus service that Cisco acquired. They acquired
Not the last.
and not probably not the last either. Don't know anything about what they're going to acquire in the future. But anyway. But around Duo, I have heard that, and that's part of the reason why I mentioned how old the program is and when it was last updated. and how robust the community engagement and how many campuses are subscribed. And so I have heard that questions around legacy aspects of the program, and we've engaged with Cisco and the advisory board on trying to determine the future, and are pending an update from Cisco on what their plans are for the future. Because I think they realize the impact on the large number of campuses that a change would make, and so how critical Duo is to the higher education community.
All right. And Everett, I'm taking note of your request about Jamf. I will definitely look into that. And if anybody else is interested in having Jamf join NetPlus, let us know. But thank you for that feedback. Anything else? We have, I think we have a couple of slides we can wrap up with. Questions? No. Guess what? We're almost at the end of the 9-part webinar series. We have one left that we're going to bump all the way to December 5th, give everybody plenty of time for holiday season coming up with Thanksgiving. But the NetPlus procurement webinar will be very different than the previous 8 webinars in the sense of what we're able to cover in terms of procurement across not just the NetPlus programs. I mean, it's focused on NetPlus procurement, but you'll learn a lot about just procurement in general in the higher ed setting. We have an expert on our team, Sue Gavazzi, who's been working with us to help kind of refine how we help the community with the whole procurement process. So you want to make sure to mark your calendars for December 5th. And if you haven't registered, thank you, Jenna, for adding a call out, but wait, there's still another webinar you can join. The NetPlus Pathify program launched in September and, or I guess October, right before EDUCAUSE. And so we didn't have time to do a separate webinar for NetPlus Pathify, but we're hosting that in December 4th. So we'll have that link for you to register and the slide deck here, but also you can find out there's a NetPlus Pathify blog post and more information on the website about Pathify. So I hope you'll join us twice during the first week of December, and look forward to seeing you then and at other events. Thank you, everybody. We look forward to the last week of the webinar series, but all of these webinars are available on the YouTube channel and in our the blog post for this series lists all the recorded webinars. On behalf of the NetPlus team, thanks for joining us and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.